Welcome to SourceLinker. This is your headquarters for attaching the 1910 census to families in the tree. So we have two columns. Here on the left is the census record, and on the right is the existing family in the tree. SourceLinker has already done a lot of legwork for us and says, hey, we think this is a match, and we need you to connect it. So our job is to look and compare all of the details here and see if the family on the left is a match for the family on the right. Once we do, we'll go through the work of attaching all of these sources over. Let's dive into the left-hand column. I'll cover the right-hand column in a future video. Like I said, the left-hand column is the record from the 1910 census that we are wanting to attach to the family. But there's going to be lots of information and questions on every given record. So we have two great buttons, great resources for us, the record button and the image button. The record is the indexed information that's been typed out in digital form, and the image is the actual census image from which that digital information was extracted. I'll cover both of those buttons and what they do in the next video. As you can see, we have different sections here in SourceLinker. You can play around and close and open all of the different accordions of this family chart. So let's close all of them and just focus on two people at a time. Here we see John Collins is directly underneath this blue bar. So this is what's called a focus person. We can change the focus person to be Sarah instead. And now Sarah is directly underneath that blue bar. The focus person will be very helpful in future videos. But for now, let's just change it back to John. As we open and close all of these family relationships, we can see who John's parents are, who his children are, and who his siblings are. We can also see other people on the record. That's where it's interesting to go and look at the actual record and find out who those other people are. Are they related, or are they just people living in the household at the time? So for every person listed on the census, we have one of these white boxes. It lists their gender, either blue or pink, and sometimes there might be a gray one with a question mark if the gender was illegible or missing from the census. It lists their full name as noted on the actual census record, and their approximate birth year based upon the age that was listed on the census. It will not have a death year on this, as in the census, they didn't ask for that information. Sometimes there may be a death year over in the right-hand column, but over in the left, we won't have that for any of the census records. Next, we have the parentheses, and this might be where it gets a little confusing, because sometimes the parentheses on the left do not match the parentheses on the right, and that's okay. The one rule of thumb is that all of the parentheses on the left go together, and all of the parentheses on the right go together, but sometimes they don't match. And I'll explain that in a future video when we get to be changing the focus person and why that would affect the parentheses. So now in the next video, we'll tackle what's on the right-hand side.